Recording in progress. Okay, welcome back. We are ACI Course 11, Class 2. It's January 16th, 2026, where I am. Let's gather our minds. Sorry. Gather our minds as we usually do. Bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom. And see them there with you. They are gazing at you with their unconditional love for you. Smiling at you with their holy great compassion. Their wisdom radiates from them. That beautiful golden glow encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize how the worldly ways we try fall short. How wonderful it will be when we can also help in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Studying emptiness and karma, we glimpse how it's possible. And so I invite you to grow that wish into a longing, and that longing into an intention. And with that strong intention, turn your mind back to your precious holy being. We know that they know what we need to know, what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet, to become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please teach me that. Show me that. Help me become like you. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. Our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we think of the pure world. They are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands, and we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with the blanket of flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Nirya Tayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened. To the Buddha I do in sharing this class and the rest. May we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may all beings totally awaken for the benefit of every single other. Okay. Last class, we learned the text that we are studying, Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life by Master Shantideva from the 700s in India. Changchup Sempa Chupalang Jupa in Tibetan. Bodhisattva Charyavatara in Sanskrit, sort of Sanskrit. And then we're studying also a commentary by Gyaltsab J. Dharma Rinchen, 1364 to 1432. I have that in my notes. I don't profess to know it. The entry point for children of the victorious Buddhas. In last class, we learned that there is a problem with anger that we cannot see directly. And that is the fact that a single instant of anger focused at a bodhisattva destroys thousands of eons of good karma that we have previously made. And then the parenthetical, right, is, and do we know who is and who isn't a bodhisattva? But within that is this message that when we can learn to stop getting angry, we stop destroying our goodness And then our experiences, our world get better. So more important than have I ever gotten really angry at a bodhisattva? It's like little bits of anger destroy our goodness and make life harder. And we would not put that together without somebody pointing it out to us, some wise person pointing it out to us. And then even when they do, there's a part of our mind that says, yeah, yeah, I get it. But when that person does that to me, I'm justified in my anger. They shouldn't have done that. They hurt me. I should get angry. I should act to pay them back or stop what they're doing. We have lots of justifications for our anger. But if we really understood that the result of that anger is to see more situations that will make us angry, maybe we wouldn't be so keen to justify our anger and our actions from anger. But then in last week's class, our we call them our kachik, the person who's arguing with Master Shantideva, and it really isn't some other person. It's our own ignorance saying, yeah, but says, great idea. I'd love to never get angry again, but I can't do it. You don't know my life. And Master Shantideva, he gives us those two verses that describe the logic of why anger, even at the level of minor irritations, is useless. And right, we were supposed to learn them at least enough to be able to write them on our quiz, which were those two verses. If there's a situation going on or coming up, if there's something I can do about it, why should I feel upset? And if there's nothing I can do about it, what use is feeling upset? It's really a great refrain to have going on. Then the guy still says, yeah, logical, but it happens so fast. My anger and my reaction to anger happens so fast. How can I ever stop that pattern? And Master Shantideva says, all of that is just based on how we've become accustomed to thinking and acting. We're operating by habit most of the time. And we didn't always have that habit. Those habits grew. They got developed by repetition, by thinking they were the right thing to do and repeating them. And we can learn new habits. We can replace old habits with new habits. So there's nothing that we can't learn to do if we just make a habit of it. Then lastly, we talked about those three kinds of patience. Not that they're the only kind. The first one was the patience that takes on suffering willingly. And that's a shift because ordinarily we're very keen to avoid suffering, avoid any kind of discomfort or pain. And we go to a lot of trouble to avoid it or stop it, misunderstanding whether or not what we do to stop it or avoid it will actually works. So we can learn to stop considering pain or suffering as something so terrible that we are willing to hurt somebody in some way to avoid it or stop it. Does not mean we reach a patience where we're putting ourselves into harm's way because we don't care. Not at all. But enough suffering happens to us in a human world that we have, what's the term? Grist for the mill. We have lots that we can work on. Second, patience. The patience which concentrates on the Dharma, meaning our understanding of karma and emptiness and the the practices to grow our wisdom and clear our obstacles are becoming so important to us, so real and effective that we're unpleasant things that would stop us from our path or interfere with our path, we just don't tolerate. It's like, no, right? I'm devoted to my practice. I will practice. Right? I'm going to continue to work with karma and emptiness, even as my circumstances get harder. Then the third patience is the patience where you don't mind if others do you harm. So that's a little deeper version of the first one. It comes out of understanding more and more deeply where that person who's doing us harm is really coming from. And that's what we're going to talk about today. When we deeply understand that anything that's any unpleasant thing that's happening is happening, but not because the other one decided to hurt me, then we come up with other ways to respond to the situation than what we used to respond. So when we're talking about situations that were triggered with the aversion, and then anger comes, and then our reaction to anger comes, when we are so keen that that whole pattern is just a habit pattern of response, and decide, I don't want to perpetuate that, we will have other choices of behaviors. And anger, acting out of anger, will no longer be one of them. So Master Shantideva is giving us all these tools to investigate how it is that we justify our anger, hurt, irritation, frustration, right? Find the word for our own personal experience. And then apply these reasonings to see if we can still justify acting in that way that we tend to act. Like I see my pattern. I hold the irritation or frustration back. I recognize it's like things aren't going my way. Things aren't going on my way. The tension's building. And then it's usually David that gets to be the brunt. He'll say something, that I perceive as just unimportant. And out of my mouth comes some snide, awful, short, one-liner that's just so rude. And it's totally not me. I would not do that to anybody else. But somehow he gets to be the recipient. And then he calls me on it, and we go through that thing. But it's like I feel justified in doing it. And it actually like releases some kind of cork on the frustration and everything else falls away. So in my subconscious, it's like that's how I fix the buildup of the frustration. But it isn't, is it? It plants all kinds of yucky seeds of harsh speech and meanness. And it wasn't flat out anger, but the anger is what propelled that reaction. So the task from my Dharma practice is to recognize the building frustration earlier and earlier and respond differently to that so that it never builds up. So then David could say that thing and it wouldn't trigger me at all because it wasn't what he said. It was my state of mind that it landed on. So Master Shantideva is trying to help us see that pattern, recognize it, and then choose different responses to the situations that we know we're going to be in. He's not saying avoid those situations. We can't. But we can use them, which stops replanting them, which does in fact make them become fewer and fewer and less and less. Okay. So in Master Shantideva's discussion, he wants us to look at the different things that we blame for the anger that we justify. And he's going to go through a series of things. And we would expect him to be talking about, look, when you feel insulted, you'll get angry. When you're lied to, you'll get angry, right? But he doesn't go there. He goes deeper, deeper, deeper into, in fact, where do we believe anything comes from? Because if we can find our deep belief in what made the world, who made the world, and see whether in fact that belief is a belief that can help us stop suffering. And if it's not, do we want to keep believing in it? To see how a misbelief is what's triggering the upset that leads to the anger, that leads to the behavior that perpetuates situations of upset. We're going much deeper. So he starts out, so he's talking to somebody, like his audience's own mind, that has said, understand you're talking about anger. Sounds great, can't do it. My life is too hard. Those others are what caused the problem. I should get angry with them. And if I don't, they'll just keep walking all over me and they'll keep, right, causing trouble. I have to act to stop them. And Master Shantideva says, well, if you get mad at your boss for blaming you for doing something, why don't you get mad at your liver when it makes you sick? Why don't you get mad at your lungs when you get bronchitis? And we say, that's silly. My liver, my lungs, they didn't decide to blame me for something and then cause me to feel so badly. It just happens, right? My elements get out of whack and then my lungs bear the brunt. So in Tibetan medicine, Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, there are these basic elements of our physical body. In Tibetan, it's the phlegm, the bile, and the wind. And those three primary elements, they're in a constant dance between each other in that they promote each other, they support each other, and they struggle against each other. And it's in this constant balance of keeping each other in check and their function right. And when we have this balance between the three, physically we're healthy, we're well, we feel good. But when one or the other gets out of balance, either too strong or too weak, that out of balance manifests as a set of symptoms and we get sick. And in order to get unsick, we need to support the one that's weak and reduce the one that's too strong, and etc. And when we know that and we get sick, we go, oh, my wind element needs help, or my bile element needs help. We don't get mad at it. We just deal with it, he says. Those dysfunctions of lung or liver or kidneys or whatever that are a source of pain, they're all impelled by influences. And that's what he says in this first verse. Oh, you don't see it. I haven't shared it yet. Do you see the vocabulary list and the, there you are. Good. He says, you fail to feel anger for bile and such, these major sources of pain. Why then are you angry at those with minds? They are all impelled by influences. So his argument is consistency. If we're going to get angry at the boss for blaming me for something, then we should get angry at our bile for making us sick. And then we say, that's ridiculous. Bile doesn't sit around thinking, how can I make Sarani sick? When am I going to do it? But somehow we think that the boss is doing that. Well, the boss is doing that. They're thinking, she didn't do that job the way I needed her to do it. I've got to set her straight. They did plan it out, didn't they? Right? Our mind makes up that story. My boss laid in bed last night, deciding how to make me miserable. And then they did it. And even if they did do that, they were impelled by influences, just like the liver and the bile. Now, I have a new system I'm getting used to. No, I didn't want to do that. There we go. So just as Illness is something that occurs despite the fact that we don't want it to. So do the violent mental afflictions come up when we don't want them to. He's talking about both our own that come up in response to the situation with the boss, and he's talking about the boss's mental affliction that's coming up as a result of whatever the circumstance is that they're upset with. And then poor boss doesn't know the thing about seeds, it appears. So they need somebody to blame, and I get to be the one. And I get hurt and angry and act, and thus I perpetuate the cycle with somebody else, not even necessarily the boss. So my task is to not only respond differently with the boss, but also in my non-boss, my non-work life, stop where I am contributing, doing to another what I am experiencing the boss doing to me. So maybe it's the boss yelling, but what the boss is yelling about is blaming me for something. And so I feel disrespected. And I might say, well, I don't yell at people ever. Well, hardly ever. So what is it I'm supposed to stop? But the boss's yelling makes me feel disrespected. Where am I? Is my behavior, where could my behavior be making somebody feel disrespected? Regardless of yelling. Oh, where can I do better at helping people be seen, heard, feel respected? I can pay closer attention to the grocery store clerk and not just take advantage of them or take them for granted. What I do in my outside work life is going to make a difference in my yelling boss life. So he's trying to point that out for us. We don't blame our liver, then don't blame the boss. But I feel my own heart go, that's totally different. But it's not, he says. Nobody says, I think I'll get angry at Sarani right now. I think that would help me feel better. I think I would like that. Circumstances happen and they fall under the influence of their mental affliction and they act. They are as uncontrolled in their mental affliction as I am when I get mine. It's one reasoning to decide whether or not we want to continue to justify our anger, our blaming the other for the displeasure that is anger. Got it? So next he goes into, and where does that situation that's causing the anger come from in the first place? Who really made the things that make us angry? Geshe-la said, listen really carefully to the next half an hour because it is the key to stop, because the key to stopping anger is understanding where whatever made us angry has come from. Did it come from the nasty boss? Did it come from the traffic jam? Did it come from not getting a good night's sleep the night before the boss got angry? Where did it really come from? Who made them? Why does it bother me? Some people can get yelled at and they like it. There are circumstances where getting yelled at is actually a good thing. Don't run into the traffic, right? It's yelling. Mm. So, is there an answer to who made that anger yelling bus yelling at me? There has to be an answer. It's an experience. Experiences are results. Results have to have causes. So ultimately, when we were growing up as little kids, Mom, who made the world? God made the world. Cool. How do you do it? Just made the world, said the world, made the world. Okay, so he was the first being. Yeah. Well, wait, who made God? Nobody made God. Well, you're right, the little kid. Well, that doesn't make sense. Somebody had to make God. Don't ask. Quit asking. Go to church. Pray. Ask the priest. And then later, some circumstance happens, some terrible accident. And the little kid says, you know, why did that guy get killed in the accident, but the other one didn't? And mom says, well, he was on the right side of the car that got smashed. And the kid says, well, yeah, but why was he on that side and not the other side? But why, mom? Don't you remember? You have kids. Don't you remember that phase? Yeah, but why? And finally, it's like, no answer. Stop asking, right? Knock it off. And the poor kid, us, we grow up and we quit asking until something happens and we go searching again for that answer. Usually the question's a little bit different. The question is, you know, existential. Me, why am I here? What's life for? What would give me meaning? This isn't right. Mm. So Master Shantideva really does want us to look deeply into our own belief of where things come from, not just the things that cause us anger, but anything. Because as long as we are believing that there's something that has created the world that creates my upset, we have something or someone to blame, which means we will not come to the conclusion that I can change my own behavior to change my circumstances. We will keep relying on something or somebody else to do it for us. And we will never change. So he goes into the theories of his time, the non-Buddhist theory, not theories, the non-Buddhist beliefs in where the world came from of his time. There were two main ones. One's called Soho. Soho means the primal one. The primal one. The word that they used for the being who created and creates the world. So this is a non-Buddhist belief system in India at the time of Master Shantideva. They described Sowo as that which or he who or it, I'm not sure how they do it, who makes everything, does things, and is things. Everything in the world is an expression of this soul. Mm. Soul is continually creating things, but no one made soul. So soul is beginningless and uncreated, unchanging, and permanent are the descriptions of soul, and continually creating things. So similar to God, what we would call God, both of these, Soho and Dak, are 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 ways that we might describe current ideas of God. So Soho has been forever, always expressing itself as existence, us and our world. So that means anything we don't like must be an expression of Soho. So Soho made my angry boss. Thank you, Soho. Please take it away. Please make it stop. What do I have to do to appease you, Soho, so that you will make this angry boss stop? And until you do, I will act angrily, right? I will act towards the boss the way I believe that I should. So it may be comforting to be able to say, oh, Soho made this happen. And I love Soho and Soho loves me, so they'll take care of me. But it won't help us stop our behavior, change our behavior, says Master Shantideva. Do we believe that there's such a thing as Soho that created the world? Are we saying there's no such thing as a Soho? No. But can it be beginningless, forever, unchanging, and create things? No, because to create is to change. If something wasn't there and you make it to be there, you changed as well as the world changed. So it's not that Master Shantideva is saying, no, no such thing as Soho. It's no such thing as Soho who is the creator of the world. Everything else about Soho is fine, but you can't blame them for everything that happens to you. Is it a force of changingness? Yes. Second one, Doc. You see it here. Doc with a little d. I'm just lazy about my capitals on the computer because every time I push the shift button, my cursor flies around. So I quit doing it a long time ago. Doc means a self-existent me. But here, Doc with a capital D, really capital D-A-K, means a self-existent being, the self-existent being, meaning like God. Atman in Sanskrit, but not my Atman, your Atman, but the Atman, like the oversoul. They say, Dak has been here forever. No one made him. They always call it a him for some reason. And Doc makes everything. In the sense they say he is the oneness which expresses all things. So it's only subtly different from Soa. Doc and Soa, very similar. Doc is said to be unchanging, permanent, eternal, and responsible for everything in our world. A constantly changing world. And that's illogical, says Master Shantideva. Not just illogical, it's against physics. To be a constant, permanent, beginningless, uncreated thing that does anything. Because to do something means you change. So either they're not beginningless and unchanging, or they can't do anything. Which one is it? You can't have both. But our heart says, yes, I can. My God is mysterious. You're not supposed to follow the laws of physics when it comes to your faith. And fine, that will bring us comfort, but it won't show us where things are really coming from, because a God who creates everything had to have created themselves. And you can't have non-existence and suddenly there be God that creates all existence, because something or somebody would have had to have had the thought, I need to be God, before it could have come into being. There had to be a cause for the result. Now there's God, and now there's the world. It's not just not logical, it's impossible. Here is life. Here's the world. Life and the world is not impossible. An uncreated creator being is what's impossible. Are they non-existent? Should we go to churches and say, look, you are all mistaken? Absolutely not. They function. They are useful. They are powerful. They are helpful. As a something that we can put our hurt into their hands and give us some comfort. And at some point, some of us recognize that that isn't ultimately helpful. It is helpful, but not ultimately helpful. Because we're here in a class like this, we have the seeds ripening that says there must be something more that I can do than just stop my own suffering, have the comfort, right, of my creator being helping me. There must be something more. So here we are, right, with the wish to become Buddhas for the sake of all sentient beings. And Master Shantideva is pointing out, if deep, deep down in there, we still have this core belief from previous human lifetimes of a core belief of there is a creator God, then we're going to deep down always fall back on that until we change that belief, until we find it and investigate it and decide, right? Maybe we'll find it and investigate and decide, no, I like that belief better. Thank you very much. In which case, God bless. right? Use it to the best of your ability. But if we recognize, no, there's a tool here, not not as somebody I can put all my problems onto, something to blame. As long as I have something to blame, I will not take responsibility for my own behavior sufficiently to do what I say I want to do, which is stop everybody's suffering forever someday. Right? So Master Shantideva is trying to point that out. Mm. So Master Shantideva's point is both So and Dak, in order to be the creators of our world and our experiences, they themselves have to have had an original cause and an ongoing cause, which means they cannot have been the creators of the world. And that's a profound argument when we think it through. Any experience is a result. Every result has to have a cause. As long as the result is still happening, there is still causes for it happening. The reason results, experiences stop is that the cause that started it and changed and kept it going and changed and kept it going and changed finally wore out. And when the cause wears out, the result stops. So and Doc have to have a cause. So they can't be causeless creators of the world. The yelling boss had to have a cause. The yelling boss's anger cause, whether it's from them or from me, is wearing out as the circumstance is happening. How I'm responding to it is planting new seeds that becomes causes for future results that will arise and wear out as the cause that I made that created it wears out. I'm not going to read all of these. It's that sequence pointing out that Doc and So can't function in the way that we believe they do. So Geshe goes on to say, and the Big Bang follows the same logic. Science says, where did everything come from? There was nothing. And then kablooey, there was a Big Bang. And now everything is outgoing from that. And as a result, everything we experience came from the Big Bang. And, what's our next question? What made the Big Bang bang? And it's only recently that I've, seen the headlines saying, science says there was a Big Bang before the Big Bang. But still, what made that one bang? It's a result. Results have to have a cause. It's an unsatisfactory answer. Everything came from the Big Bang. It's incomplete is the problem. So Geshe went through this exercise. No, wait. Let me give you some terms. Not the Nupo Mitakpa yet. in English, we have these different words that we use. One of them is eternal. By eternal, we mean has not had a beginning and has no end. Eternal. Permanent means has always been or will always be. Won't end or break. Permanent. But not necessarily eternal, which is kind of a struggle. Permanent and eternal are not synonyms. Then we have impermanent, which means will break or end, will come to an end. And then we have changing, the word changing. Changing means fluctuating, almost never the same. And that becomes kind of slippery because we think of a thing that is changing. Our mind imposes, first there's an unchanging thing there, and then it changes. And it's like when we try to find that first thing that we're talking about as the changing thing, by the time we've identified it, it is different than it was when we first thought about it or perceived it. So you can never actually find the changing thing that we're calling a changing thing because it's changed by the time we do. Changing, changing, changing. That's what changing means. And then I think of my car. Is my car a changing thing? Yeah. But no, because a changing thing that's as slippery as I just described, if I went out to my car and realized I can't interact with my changing car because the car I'm trying to interact with is different by the time I interact with it, how can it be so solid? How can I open the door and sit? How can I, right? It's like, I know things are changing, 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 but in my heart, no. My car's the same car. And it'll be the same car tomorrow until I get rid of it. And then I won't have the same car, right? So it's like we hear the thing about So and Doc, and it's like, yeah, that's nuts. I don't believe like that. But I believe it about my car. And then I get mad when the car doesn't start because I'm in a hurry. And it's like, it's a matter with this car. We are illogical, says Master Shantideva. Okay, so here comes the pop quiz. We'll do one and take a break and then do another. Give me something that is changing and eternal. Always has been, always will be, and is constantly changing.
So,
Yeah, Frank, what do you say?
I would say the universe.
Universe, no beginning, no end, constantly changing. That's possible. That's not the answer Geshe gave.
is it solo? I don't have my.
No,
think it's
because they say Soho is unchanging. We made the case for the
right.
Soho that is changing,
Oh,
but
that's
then
right.
that's not Soho.
Okay. Permanent.
think it's our mind stream.
Yeah, our mind stream. Right? So not Sarani hasn't been forever, but the subject side of this mind stream is forever. Beginningless, endless, changing constantly. Our mind. Give me something that's eternal and not changing. Do you remember that algorithm of all existing things? Changing things, unchanging things. In unchanging things, there's two.
The space, I think.
Empty space, right?
Uh,
Space. So not so much outer space, but space as in the place that things are. So let's take our break and then we'll come back to that because that takes me a few minutes to go through.
What's Chiba?
Shiba is a little kid.
Oh,
We haven't gotten there yet.
oh, okay. Sorry.
No worries.
Here's Rani.
Yes.
I need to work on this at 6. It is possible that I can watch the recording.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for teaching.
Mhm.
Do you want to say hi? Say good morning. Say good morning.
Hey, Jemmy.
Mhm.
Nice to see you.
Thank you for teaching.
Whoa, he just disappeared.
Love you.
Bye-bye. Yes,
Can I
Frank.
question?
Mhm.
Is there a verse um, for this logic, how that the mind stream is endless? Is there there must be some reasoning for it? Is
Yeah,
it
it's in course 2, I think.
okay?
So you just are uh, jumping in high school, having missed elementary school. But it's the logic, I'll get you started, is that is there a moment of your awareness now, your mind now? Yes. It has
Yes.
to be a result of a cause, correct?
Yes.
So there had to have been a moment of mind before this one in order to have this one.
Okay.
Keep going back again to
Yeah.
what about the first moment of this life? That had to have, that's a result. It had to have a cause. So there had to have been a moment of mind before that one.
Okay.
And that's true. That's true. It's true. It's true. So if you have a mind now,
Mm,
which is about the only thing we really know,
mm,
there has to have always been a this one's mind, not this one, right? A this mind,
yeah.
because there's always
Okay.
all the
So
way back.
this means that the basic or the foundation for coming to this result is to say skip cause and what was it? Cause and result
Right.
are um, are eternal and unchangeable.
The fact of cause and result
Yeah.
is eternal and unchanging. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little bit like in science they call it axiom. So
Something that's always true. Right.
yeah, something that's always true. Mhm.
Right. Right.
So would it happen if someone is thinking about it and makes the experience that this axiom is not true? What's happened then?
They are believing something different.
Yeah.
But to have that belief in something different is a result of some cause. So whether
Mhm.
we believe that things are results of causes or not, they still are,
Okay,
right?
fine. Okay, that's great. Okay, so it's a little bit self-fulfilling,
It is,
or it's recursive.
right?
It's funny.
I know. So you try to argue that with somebody who hasn't themselves come to the conclusion, you really can't do it because they'll point out your very argument is your argument. So it's not an argument. And it's like, no, it is. It's proof.
Yeah, okay.
Arya Nagarjuna, in his root text wisdom, I think it is, at some point he has a verse that says, every argument anybody ever gives me is proof of
Mm.
the truth of my argument. And it's like,
Okay, that's great.
what?
Okay, that's great. So for me, I have to close the course because I have to think about it.
No, don't go away yet. We're just getting
Oh,
started.
sorry about it.
Okay, we're back. I didn't shut the recording. Yeah, we're back. So eternal and not changing, empty space. So empty space is the place where material things are. So as long as there are material things, there is empty space. And apparently, if there are material things now, there will always be material things. But I don't know, that's arguable. At what point does something come to qualify as being a material thing? How subtle can it be and still be material? We won't go there here. What's important about our investigation of empty space is that it's unchanging. So here's empty space. Now, this part of empty space is occupied by our friend the pen. Now, it's not. But this is over here. So anywhere the pen is, it's occupying space. But does the space change when the pen is in it versus when the pen is out of it? Here's space, pen in it, pen out of it. Did the space change? Right? Our mind wants to say, of course it's changed. Now it's available for anything else. Now it's not available for anything else because the pen is in it. But if the space the pen is in changed by the pen being in it, it would no longer be the space the pen is in, and it would push the pen out. I'll say it again. If the space the pen is in changes by way of the pen being in it, it would no longer be the space the pen is in, it would be something else, and then the pen can't be in it anymore. It has to stay the space the pen is in. And to be the space the pen is in, it has to still be space. Space is an availability, an absence of something occupying it. Once it's occupied, nothing else can occupy it, but the space itself is unchanged. It's hard, but an important piece. What is something, yes, Frank?
Sorry, short. So space is changeable but eternal or not?
No, unchanging
Unchanging, but
and
eternal.
eternal.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So here, the other thing about space, I don't like to miss the opportunity, is that when there's a material thing occupying space, we cannot see the space that the pen is in, but we know it's there, don't we? It has to be, because here's the pen. So there has to be the space the pen is in. There's an absence that we are aware of by being aware of a presence. And those are seeds we want to plant because we want to become aware of every appearance as being empty of self-nature someday. And one of the ways to plant the seeds for that is to recognize that, oh, where there's any material thing, there is also the empty spaces it's in order to plant seeds in our mind. Okay, let's go on. What is something that's permanent and changing? Geshe-la said the human mind. Whereas before we said the mind, because human mind is permanent as long as we are being a human life. The changing mind will go on, but it isn't always going to be a human mind. It's permanently human mind as long as we are human. Then it'll be permanently hell-being mind, if that's the next one. Versus eternal mind, the mind that's not identifying itself as human mind, etc. That's a subtlety, but the point is permanent and changing. Now, give me something that's impermanent and changing. Everything else. Yeah, clothes, feelings, sleep, food, just about everything else about our experience, impermanent and changing. Now give me something unchanging and able to do something. Something unchanging and able to function to bring about something else. Kong Li says emptiness. Can an unchanging thing bring about a change?
No.
No. There's no such thing as an unchanging thing that functions. There's no such thing as an unchanging thing that can do anything. That's significant because when we are still believing God made the world, we are saying to ourselves, God, an unchanging, permanent, eternal thing, is creating the circumstances of this angry yelling bot. It can't be. Not just is it illogical, but it's impossible. Poor God is probably saying they've misunderstood me since forever. Hey, there is God, I believe. But we're giving them the wrong attributes and then blaming him for everything. That's not fair. That's Master Shantideva's point. You don't have to throw out God. Have a different relationship with this being. Are there totally enlightened, ultimately loving, ultimately wise beings existing? Yes, thank you very much. Did they create my world? No. Did they create their world? Yes. Am I creating my world? Yes. Who's the creator of your world? oh my gosh, that means yikers. I don't even want to say it. I'm to blame for it all. That's too heavy. Don't have that conversation with your neighbor. It took me a long time before I could have that conversation with myself because it's like it's too much. But then in the end, it's liberating because I'm the one who changes my behavior, not anybody else. I can rely on my holy being. I can rely on my God to help me change, to teach me, to guide me, to show me, help me. But don't blame them for what's going on. And out of the blame comes the anger. If we stop blaming, angry, yelling boss, or God, the anger isn't necessary. We'll find it will still come up as habit. And we'll understand, whoa, this is just habitual response to a situation. I don't have to act the way it's wanting me to act. It's hard in the midst of a situation to choose a different response. So we think out different responses outside of the circumstance. Oh, I understand what pushes my buttons. When I recognize those buttons going off, I'll try and act like this instead. We do that in our cushion time, our contemplation time. Maybe even write it down. Maybe even imagine yourself in a situation that would push your buttons and you responding differently. Yeah, that active imagination is imprinting seeds almost as effectively as when we're in the actual situation. And they've shown it, right? Athletes use visualization as part of their training now. No, I used it myself years ago. So we can imagine ourselves with a new behavior pattern repeatedly, and then we'll be surprised. Oh my gosh, I actually did it. Yay. Okay. So read those sections again and again and see if you can get how he goes through his sequence, but also look deep in our hearts. I was raised in a Judeo-Christian world, right? To believe God did it. And so I want to find those seeds that I might fall back on when things get hard. The scripture will say we can't blame something, anything, on the horns of a rabbit. And it seems silly. It's like, who would blame anything on the horns of a rabbit? The horns of a rabbit is a phrase that they use for an impossible thing, right? There's no such thing as a rabbit with horns in our world. So it means to blame somebody else for the anger I'm feeling is like blaming the horns of a rabbit. There is no such thing as the other person's behavior triggering my anger. And it's tough. It's like, yes, there is such a thing. I just experienced it. But the way we are experiencing it with that deeper factor of they did that to me has not happened. The my seeds ripening them doing that to me is happening. But those two are very different experiences. It's hard. It's really hard. We can hear it here, but to drop it here, it takes time. Okay, so Master Shantideva goes on. So the guy he's been talking to has followed this argument. Now he sees that he can't blame So or Doc for the things that make him angry. He says, well, then what is it that makes me so angry? Please, Mr. Know-it-all, Shantideva. Let's see if I can find it here. Contemplation 9, is that where I am? Yes. Our argument is still, look, that guy at work, he lied about me. The bosses believed him. I got demoted. He did wrong. I'm justified in being angry at that guy. He should get punished. He did hurt me. And Master Shantideva says, look, people have trouble. People have trouble in all kinds of ways. And then they even are willing to hurt themselves out of their misunderstanding of what's going on and how to get relief from it. People do all kinds of things that hurt themselves, all the way up to actually killing themselves sometimes. And if people can be so overwrought by their own mental afflictions that they do stuff that hurts themselves, why would you expect them to not inadvertently hurt you along the way? Cut them some slack is what he's saying. Like, look, use that reasoning as another way to investigate where is my hurt really coming from? That poor person, that poor guy. He was so upset somewhere in some way in his life that he thought the solution was to lie about me. Like my growing wisdom hopefully would go, wow, I'm so sorry he's tormented in some way, that he's willing to create those bad seeds to get at me. Master Shantideva points it out. There are those who, having lost their senses, hurt themselves by themselves with thorns or such. To get a woman or the like, they become obsessed and do things like refusing to eat food, all the way up to killing themselves, he's going to say. Some go on, hang themselves, etc. I'm not going to read all these. If people driven to it by their own mental afflictions even kill their own dear selves, then what surprise could it ever be to see that they also act in ways that harm the bodies of other people? Oh. Where does the angry boss come from? He's answering that little by little. He says people are like little children. That's the word chiva, Chris. People are like little children, hurting themselves with non-virtues in efforts to get what they want. Why expect anything more from them? So this term children, people are like children, he is being literal. Until you're a certain age, you don't really have the ability to figure out what's hurtful and what's harmful until you actually experience it, right? And so the parent hovers around the small child to try to prevent them from doing something that will hurt themselves before they hurt themselves, until the child knows that doing that will probably hurt so I won't do it. And I guess it's not until they're 6 or 7 years old that they have that ability. I don't know, not having been a parent. And I don't remember for myself. So the term chiba is also used to indicate someone who has not yet had the direct perception of ultimate reality. So all of us are in this, if you're not Arya, and I don't know, all of us are in this situation of not really knowing what will hurt us and what will harm us until we have the direct experience. So he uses the term in the reading in this like hidden way. He really is talking about, you know, how little kids just don't know what's going to hurt them and what isn't, but we're in the same boat. And especially when we're blaming somebody else for the unpleasantness that we are experiencing. Not just the blame that allows us to do something, the seeds of which will hurt us in the future. Okay. So Master Shantideva's point is, can't we have a little bit more compassion for the one who's misbehaved that I'm so mad about? The one who hurt me. He goes on to say, look, there are like two choices we have about our view of other people. Do we believe that basically other people are bad, nasty? If we think human beings' nature is to be nasty and selfish, then when they act like that, why are we the least bit surprised and upset? If we believe that no, human beings' nature is good, everybody's basically kind and trying to be kind. He says, if you believe that about people and you experience somebody as having a bad day, a bad moment, and they're being ugly and unpleasant, can't we see that they're just having a hard time? They're struggling. Can we have compassion for them? Can we recognize, no, they are basically good. They just messed up and told that lie about me that got me in trouble. Okay, I understand better. So he says, look, if you don't expect any better from them, why do you get upset when they hurt you? And if you do expect better from them, everybody can have a bad day. Let your compassion grow for their bad day through which they hurt you. And Geshe-la says, we know that's possible because the mother of the axe murderer, right, says, oh, my boy, he's a good boy. He just slipped up. Please be kind in your, right, whatever you're going to do to him. He's a good boy. He just slipped up. So if moms can do that with their axe murderer sons, we can do it with the coworker who lied about us, says Master Shantideva. So he's also saying, check in your heart. Do you believe others are basically bad, or do you believe others are basically good? And then act accordingly, consistently with our belief system. It's his point. Hmm. So going on. And there's the, if they're hurtful by nature, it's no surprise. 11. Okay. So the Kachik still says, yeah, but that person who's basically good, who was in having a bad day, they still did something harmful and hurt me. And Master Shanti Deva says, okay, so suppose that person picks up a stick and beats you with the stick. What is it that's actually causing your body pain? It's the stick. Master Shanti Deva says, so why aren't you mad at the stick? And we say, well, because the stick can't hurt me all by itself. It had to be impelled by the stupid person, the person who hurt me. So I don't blame the stick, I blame the person. And what's Master Shantideva's answer going to be? Well, if you don't blame the stick, you can't blame the person either, because number one, the person's being compelled by their mental affliction to wield the stick to hurt you with it. So don't get mad at the person, get mad at the person's mental affliction, not the person. And like, how do we respond if we're mad at somebody's mental affliction when we ourselves have a mental affliction about their mental affliction? Whose mental affliction should we be mad at? Whose mental affliction is it for them to have a mental affliction that makes them pick up a stick and beat me with it? He says, come on. Like, you want to stop your suffering? Find what's really to blame. The person compelled by their mental affliction. Is it my experience? Am I having that experience? Yes. Can I really know what their mental affliction is? No. Do I think I know? Yes. Whatever I think I know about what they're feeling, that's my ripening. So whose mental affliction is it that's causing this whole situation? Ow, it's mine. So what good is getting mad at them and their mental affliction if getting mad and acting badly plants the imprint in my mind that's going to make me have the mental affliction or the ripening that makes me see them with a mental affliction that hurts me? Where is it really coming from? I didn't do anything to cause them to do that. No, not in the exact moment. But if I can experience it, it is a result of a cause. And who had to have made the cause for the result I experienced? Only me. Only this mind. Was it Sarani? Maybe, maybe not. Was it Josephine or, Joe lifetimes ago? I don't know. But I do know it had to have been this mind's experience of itself behaving in some similar way to the one that's happening to me right now. And so, what do I want to create? I want this to stop. I want future thises to stop for everybody. How am I going to do that without creating new unpleasant circumstances in the future? I either need to not react at all, we haven't gotten there yet, or I run away fast, or I act with some attempt at kindness, will they necessarily see it as kindness, as pleasant? No, doesn't matter. It's our effort to be kind that plants the seed, not the result we get in the next moment, because the result we get in the next moment is not actually a result of what we did in this moment. It takes time for the cause to become the result. It does not happen in the next instant. Okay. Thank goodness we've all heard this before, or I wouldn't be able to do a class like this. I myself, in days gone past, perpetuated this very harm on other living beings. And so it's right that now the one who did the harm, myself, should have this hurt come to them. Not meaning put yourself in harm's way because you deserve it. But when harm comes, right? I made it. I'm not gonna make more of it. So how do I respond? So what's really happening as angry boss is yelling and we're feeling the resistance? If we break it down, what actual experience is happening? You can't do it in the moment, but we can do it on our cushion. The identity of the event, angry boss blaming me for something I didn't do. I don't like it. I need to stop it. That's all it's all a story. It's all the cognitive identities that our seeds are making us put onto raw information. What information are we actually experiencing? We get form through our eyes. We get sound through our ears, right? Smell, taste, touch. What we're experiencing is red, round, decibels that are harsh. Even that's a story. But there's nothing about red, round, harsh decibels that has to be angry, yelling boss blaming me for something. Red, round, what if they were speaking a language I didn't understand? Would I be offended? The loud, harsh. Maybe it's a warning and not a interrogation. The actual information has nothing in it for us to react badly or goodly to, necessarily. It's not until that information gets its story. Does the information make us see the story? Is the story in the information? No, because if it was, everybody who witnessed that red round, heard those same decibels, would have the same reaction to it, and they don't. Somebody who doesn't like me is going, whoa, she finally got what she deserved. They're having a pleasant experience of that red, round, high decibels focused on me. Someone who doesn't care or someone who likes me is like, oh, this is not good. Someone who doesn't care just doesn't care. And if the red round was angry boss, this is unpleasant in them, from them, even the fly would be having the same reaction as me. How dare they do that? And I don't think the fly reacts like that to that situation. All these really, it seems like ridiculous ways to show ourselves that what we believe is going on can't, is like horns on the head of a rabbit. That angry boss yelling at me, hurting my feelings, making me mad. To understand the reaction and story is coming from us is to understand that the angry yelling boss has no nature of angry yelling boss in them, from them, the emptiness of the boss. We're trying to fill in what we mean by karma and emptiness, profound dependence happening. My own results of past deeds forcing me to interpret this information in the way that I do, because that information otherwise has no qualities and characteristics until I put mine on them. Does that mean there's no such thing as a boss? And no such thing as them upset with me? No, that's where the real boss and the real upset comes from. Is there the boss in them, from them? No, that one's not there at all. Never was, never could be. Do we believe they are there? In them, from them, blaming me? Absolutely. And that's why it's so difficult to act differently in the repeating situation of what pushes our buttons, is because our belief is so strong in something that doesn't even exist. Do you see why he also talked about so and da? Our belief is so strong in a God that we can put the blame on. But there is no such God we can put the blame on, not that there's no such God, just like not that there's no boss. There is a boss. We just can't blame them for what's happening to us. Our seeds ripening are compelling the boss to yell at me at the moment. If I can experience that way, wouldn't my response, my emotional response, be different? Oh man, there's the results of having done that before. I'm so sorry that I did that. How can I help you, boss? I'm sorry you're upset. I really am genuinely sorry you're upset with me. I didn't do what you're saying I do. I am upset with you. I don't like this one bit, but I understand where it's coming from. So how can I weed this garden and plant a flower instead? It comes with growing our deep understanding. In order to grow that deep understanding, we want to find our misunderstanding and weed out the misunderstanding. That's the purpose of his whole chapter on where does anything come from, so that we can find where the things that make us angry come from, so that we can stop making them. So where does anything come from that upsets us? My own past behaviors. that somehow upset somebody else, that I was willing to do that could upset somebody else, that in which we saw ourselves upset somebody else, even though technically what we did didn't upset them, that was their own seeds. But what we saw is our seeds. It gets so slippery. So, of course, the only way to keep seeing angry, yelling bosses is to yell back at them and to yell at others for any reason. We cannot yell back at the boss, but go home and yell at the dog. And we've created more yelling boss by yelling at the dog. Master Shanti Deva says, come on, wake up. Our very world is created by how we react to everything in our world. Stop reacting negatively, and our world will get more and more beautiful. Continue to react negatively, and our world will get uglier and uglier. And there is the time gap involved. Master Shantideva goes on to say, even the fact that we are here with a body, like to have a human body, is a great goodness. It's hard to recognize that because, I don't know, I only know being a human. And so I took it for granted, still do. And when we learn about the form and formless realm and the desire realm, we see that the form and formless realms, they're too pleasurable for our mind to question where things come from. And in the lower realms, life is too painful to question where things come from. That in the human realm, we have just the right amount of pleasure and just the right amount of displeasure with the just a right amount of intelligence that we can, it can come to our awareness, there's something wrong with this picture, and go searching for an answer. Only humans can do that. Not all humans can do that. So it's a great, great goodness to get a human body. If then we use that human body in ways that perpetuate the negativity, we are losing the goodness to have a human body, which is contributing to bringing this human body to an end and reducing the likelihood of the mind's next projection being another human body. So again, Master Shantideva is saying, even if we don't have the goodness seeds to get the deep aha that everything's coming from my own seeds, let's understand that we do have an amazing goodness to be in the position that we're in, humans with the capacity, having asked the question, having found an answer that caught our attention, that propelled us to look into it more. And here we are. And so it's actually a big rejoicable to be the you that you are with your access to teachings and practices that they're all coming out of your mind. That's my point. Your goodness is creating all of these classes and all of this wisdom. And we're burning it off as we do it. And we're planting new as we do it. So let's focus on the planting new, okay? And keep it going. All right. So the last thing is Geshe wanted to point out these 4 synonyms in Tibetan. So there's synonyms in English as well. It becomes really important when we get to logic class. And it's important as we're grappling with this, where does things that make me angry really come from? So it's these 4 down here: Nupo, Mitakpa, Dujepa, and Jepa. These 4 words. Nupo means a functioning thing, something that does something. Pens, cars, doorknobs, car keys, teacups, food. Mitakpa, literally the word means not unchanging, which becomes significant later. Mitakpa is not unchanging, which means changing. Frequently inaccurately translated, says Geshe Michael, as impermanent. And we'll see later why changing and impermanent are not synonym. The next one, Dujepa. Dujepa means a caused thing. Duje is that 4th heap called compositional factors by most translators. Compositional factors means you put 2 things together, you come up with a third. Put things together to come up with something else. Geshe says that's a misunderstanding of the principle. Dujepa. Dujepa means a caused thing. A caused thing comes about when other things come together. That is true. But we don't think, oh, the tree growing out of an acorn is a compositional factor. We think the acorn caused the tree, the oak tree. That's Dujepa. And then Jepa means a produced thing. So a produced thing, a caused thing, a changing thing, and a functioning thing. To be one of them is to be all 4. So anytime we have an object that we believe functions, it is also a changing thing, a caused thing, and a produced thing. Anytime we have a caused thing, it is a functioning thing. Okay, it's these 4 being synonyms is the basis of this discussion about where does anything come from. So can anything without a cause do anything? No. Which is why Our anger and the things that seem to cause our anger cannot come from an uncreated, unchanging creator being. We want to stop blaming a creator God and take responsibility for our own world. And until we recognize that we are creating all the things that make us angry, we'll never stop doing it. Because we won't have the power to do it. If the boss can make me angry, I'm under the control of the boss. If I can take control of my seed planting response, I can change how it appears that the boss has control over me. They can do the same thing and I won't get angry. Not by stuffing it, not by deciding not to get angry, but by weeding old anger seeds, planting the opposite, whatever we decide that behavior will be for us. How long do we have to do that? Until you don't get angry at things anymore. That could take a long time. You're right. We have all the time we need. How much do we want to suffer before we stop it? Totally up to us. Nobody's saying you have to do anything. Hey, we get to do these things. As we understand them better and better, we want to try them on for size. And we will fail. We will mess up. That's the beauty of the 4 powers. When we do, I tried, I couldn't do it. I'll try again tomorrow. And when we can have that attitude, we can see how those 3 kinds of patience will grow in us. Instead of working so hard to avoid unpleasantnesses, it's like, well, I get myself in what would have been unpleasant and check. Is it still so bad? Yeah, it's terrible. Okay, burn it off, plant new. Or do I get in the circumstance and go, why did I think that was bad? Because our seeds have shifted. When we get these little glimpses, oh my gosh, things are changing, pat yourself on the back. You did the work to see that change. And then we go out and do some more. So when we know we have the tools, there is less need to blame others for those unpleasant things. There's less need to react badly. We grow our personal responsibility. We grow our own sense of being empowered to change our world. And then we're not working so hard to avoid the unpleasantness at all cost. And that is that patience that we're growing. The ability to tolerate discomfort, not just tolerate, but use it for our practice. How else are we going to get rid of it than to be in a situation where it's coming up and respond differently? Okay. So Geshe ended this class. He says, the real path to freedom starts with the realization that the only one that created my world was me. And then I learned to create the world I would like everyone to live in. It's so empowering just to recognize, oh my gosh, that's true logically. And that's enough to start to grow the goodness to bring us to the experience of that truth directly. Seeing the seeds ripen, going into direct perception of emptiness, coming out having the 4 Arya truths, with a mind imbued with bodhicitta, which is the level we're working at. Okay, nice job. It's a great goodness to hear this class. So well done. Where's my cursor? There it is. Let's get rid of this screen share. Stop share. Stop share. So remember that being you wanted to be able to help? We've learned a lot that we will use sooner or later to help them stop their suffering forever. And that's an extraordinary goodness. So please be happy with yourself, not discouraged. Happy with yourself. And think of this goodness like a beautiful glowing gemstone you can hold in your hands. Recall your precious holy being who did not create your world and who loves you so much. They're there to help you create your world in a more and more beautiful way. See how happy they are with you? Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them to please stay close, to continue to guide you, help you, inspire you, maybe even challenge you if you feel brave enough. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And they carry it with them right back into your heart. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom. It feels so full. You have access to it. It feels so good. We want to keep it forever. And so we know to share it by the power of the goodness that we've just done. May all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So use those 3 long exhales to share this goodness with that one person. To share it with everyone you love. To share it with every existing being everywhere. See them all filled with loving kindness. Filled with understanding of where things come from. May it be so. Sorry about that. Annoying cough.